Sunwheelmagic.com, thunderwizard.com, Paleolithic Continuity Paradigm versus Indo-European Migration Theory, Part 2. Please go back and watch Part 1 if you're just tuning into this. So, as I said before, the Paleolithic Continuity Paradigm says that all of the Indo-European peoples and their corresponding languages and religions are indigenous. They were not imported from some Indo-European homeland. The Aryans did not give everybody the Indo-European language. Let me make it clear. I believe that there was an Aryan civilization. That's very clear. There was an Aryan civilization in the steppes of Russia that did in fact go down and invade India and the Iranian plateau. But I am saying that the Aryan civilization is independent from the Greek civilization, independent from the Celtic civilization, independent from the Germanic civilizations, independent from, it's its own subset of the Indo-European culture. The reason why I'm bringing this out is because the Paleolithic Continuity Paradigm, which is basically established scientific fact now, completely destroys this idea of racial homogeneity within Indo-Europeans. Much of re-constructionist heathenism is based on this old theory of the Aryan invasions of Europe and the Middle East, bringing their culture, language, and ethnicity. So that means, according to the Paleolithic Continuity Paradigm, that the first Indo-Europeans who spoke Proto-Indo-European, who had their Indo-European culture and religion, were Africans who brought this with them at least 50,000 years ago as they migrated up into the northern hemisphere. So basically what that means is that there is no such thing as an Indo-European ethnicity. It does not exist. The science now is saying that language tends to evolve very, very slowly over tens of thousands of years, unless there is some massive external stimulation. And so when the Indo-European migration theory was being formed over the past few hundred years, it was happening during a time when there was massive colonization and warfare, where peoples of Europe were imposing their language and their religion onto indigenous populations. So it's understandable because that's the reality that people were in, and so they just imposed their reality onto their ancestors, and they made this connection between Sanskrit and the Sanskrit is the indigenous language of the Indians, and connecting it to Europe and saying, well, it must have come from Europe, or it must have come somewhere else, and so they came up with this idea of the Aryan civilization. The Aryans, by the way, was the name that the Vedic tribes called themselves, and it meant the noble ones. There is some reference in there possibly to racial differences between the Vedic tribes and the tribes that they were conquering. Racialists have tended to grasp onto this and apply it to all Indo-European peoples, and have this understanding that all Indo-Europeans were light-eyed, light-haired people. So this understanding now we have with the Paleolithic Continuity Paradigm destroys that. The first Indo-Europeans were dark-skinned Africans, and their ethnicity changed as a result of being exposed to different climatic conditions over tens of thousands of years. So that's why, the ethnicity of the Germanic peoples is very different from, other Indo-European peoples, and that's why they look different. Anyway, I just want to put that out there. If somebody wants to call themselves a reconstructionist, they have to be objective. And you can't look at objective facts, these objective facts, and continue to hold on to this idea that to be Indo-European is to be white. It's just ridiculous. The truth of the matter is that the first Europeans who showed up in Europe were speaking Proto-Indo-European, and they were the genesis of all the Indo-European cultures and religions And the various differences between, say, the Germanic languages, the Celtic languages, the Slavic languages, happened as a result of being isolated for tens of thousands of years. But their base religion, their base language came from a unified root.